Thank you so much, Dr. Gautam, for nice introduction and giving me opportunity to discuss a very important public health issue. And as Dr. Gautam mentioned, that this room is very familiar to me. For the last 7 years, I have been doing quarterly classes to teach patients, and I'm very glad Dr. Gautam is doing great job in making difference in lives of people. And I still remember one of my professors said to me that patients come to you with two main expectations. They want to feel better, they want to live longer. And I think Dr. Gautam, he's non-medical doctor, but still he's doing the same job. In those classes, we discuss for 4 hours comprehensive education for diabetes. So we are short of time here, but we will do it here. We will go over basic stuff about diabetes, and then we will mainly discuss lifestyle changes, how we can change our lifestyle to prevent and treat this disease. Diabetes has two opposite faces. One is the horrible phase. Untreated diabetes leads to all sorts of complications, ranging from blindness to amputation, ranging from dialysis to stroke. But there is a good phase also. This disease can be this is preventable disease. So that is the main message I give to my patients whenever I do classes, and I will give to you also, that this disease is a preventable disease, and also this is fully treatable disease. So it is not something that 30 years ago a physician thought that if someone has diabetes, whatever you do, they are going to have worst outcome. So things have changed. Disease can be fully treated, and if you fully treat it, then you don't worry about any complication. You can be just like anyone else who does not have diabetes. Now, diabetes is not just epidemic, it is pandemic. So diabetes tsunami is affecting the whole world. Last month, I conducted a seminar international seminar for physicians in Southeast Asia, and you will be surprised to know that the incidence of diabetes is increasing more than what you see here. And although people, they are not as overweight as here are, so there are a lot of other things other than being overweight which are involved. So it is everywhere. There are about 366 million people who have diabetes all over the world, and they project that in 2030 there will be 522 million patients if trend continues like this. In United States, there are about 25 million patients, and then there are 79 million individuals who don't have diabetes, but they have pre-diabetes. Pre-diabetes is the condition which is in between normal and diabetes, and that is the stage where diabetes can be fully treated. So that is the most important subject if we want to prevent diabetes later on, the incidence, want to decrease it. So we have to prevent diabetes when patients are in pre-diabetes stage. I will share with you some interesting facts about diabetes. Diabetes is a Greek word which means siphon or passing through. So this means the passing of glucose in urine, and mellitus is a Latin word which means sweet taste. Now, although we knew more about diabetes within last 100 years, but this disease existed thousands of years ago. In 1st century, Arrhetius, he described this disease melting down of flesh and limbs into urine. So this is very intelligent definition of this disease. 1st century, when no one knew what glucose is, what carbohydrate is, but that is exactly what this disease is, because this disease causes catabolic stage, breakdown of protein, passing of glucose in urine, you lose weight. So that was very intelligent definition. Ancient Indians, they used to diagnose disease by looking at ants attracted to urine of the patient. And medieval European physicians, they went one step ahead and they will diagnose disease by tasting urine of the patient. And I'm glad I was not physician at that time. Since speaker have to tell some jokes, so I will mention one joke here related to tasting urine. There was one medical professor teaching medical students, and he said that, okay, today we will teach you to diagnose disease by tasting the urine of the patient. So medical students, they were very surprised and looking at each other what this professor is saying. We said, okay, I will do first. So there was in a container there was urine. He put his finger in the urine and then he licked that finger. So it was very disgusting, and one nervous student like me, he was in the back, he was going to faint. He said, what is he doing? Then he said, okay, now you come forward and you do this. So that student came forward, put his finger into the urine, then licked it, and almost nauseated, fainted. Then professor said that you cannot be a good physician. He said, why? He said, good physician has a quality that he should have good power of observation. You did not observe me well. I put my middle finger in the urine, but I licked my ring finger. Now, in history, there was interesting different treatments for diabetes. In 1800s, physicians used to treat diabetes with opium, because that was the only thing to make patient comfortable. In 1800, there was French doctor Paiori. He thought that since patients are losing glucose in urine, so give these patients more carbohydrates. So that was his treatment. So unfortunately, he also developed diabetes, and probably he used his own treatment, and he died very quickly. There was another French doctor, Bouchard. He made an observation that when there was a shortage of food, famine in a city, people were not getting enough food. He noticed that patients who had diabetes, they got better. There is an Italian physician, Cantoni. What he used to do is he used to lock up his patients that they should not have access to carbohydrate. And then starvation in hospital was the only treatment available before we got proper treatment of diabetes. This gentleman, medical student, Paul Langerhans, he was looking at slide of pancreas, and he noticed that there were some cells which were unidentified before, and those cells were given name of islet of Langerhans. No one knew what those cells are at that time, but later on, now we know that those are the cells which secrete insulin. And the insulin is the hormone which is related to disease of diabetes. This was Dr. Banting was surgeon, a Canadian surgeon in 1921. He was not successful in his profession, surgery, so he started doing research work. Dr. MacLeod was the professor in Department of Physiology. He helped him, and Dr. Charles Best was medical student. They started doing experiments on dogs. They removed pancreas of the dogs, and then they noticed that the dog developed diabetes. Then what they tried to do is they make extract of pancreas and then injected into that dog who did not have pancreas, and they were successful. And this was the first dog who lived up to 70 days, although pancreas was removed, but they injected into pancreatic extract. So that was the breakthrough discovery in human history. In 1922, insulin was discovered. First insulin was made by Eli Lilly in 1923. Elizabeth Hughes, she was the first patient who received pure insulin. She was a teenager, daughter of a diplomat, and she had type 1 diabetes, and then she was just going to die when insulin was discovered, and she was given insulin, and she lived up to 74 years of age. And Banting and Professor MacLeod, they got a Nobel Prize for this discovery. So these were few basic facts, interesting facts in the history. Now we will go to our another presentation. And while I am looking at, let's see.
20 minutes, can we, about 28 minutes, can we give 5 minutes break?
No?
Yeah.
Right, yes, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Here we have, just remember that not sitting on the chair for 30 minutes.
Stand up for a little while. Good. Now, separate your feet about shoulder width apart. And now, just take your time and shift from one side to the other. 1, 2. Move from your hip. 5, 10. All right, I'm going to turn my back to you for a little while so you can follow along. Shift to your right. Put the weight on your right leg and raise your right arm. Push up. Now, reach up with your left hand. Get a hold of your right wrist. And now, pull to your left. And you should feel a stretching on your right side. Wiggle your fingers. Now, take your time and breathe in and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Release and come on up. Let's go in the opposite direction. Shift to your left. Put the weight on that left leg and raise your left arm. Push up. Take your right hand, get a hold of that left wrist, and pull to your right. Hold it there. Wiggle your fingers. Breathe in and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And come on back out. All right, now just roll your shoulders back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Keep your feet apart, bend your knee, and place your hands on your knee. Now, only bend your knee to about 90 degrees. So bend your knee to about a 90-degree bend. And now put your right hand down and raise your left. Look to the ceiling. Put your hands in between your legs. Put that right hand in between your legs. Separate your feet. Now hold it there. Put your hand right there. Raise that left arm. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reverse it. Put your left hand down and raise your right. You should have your left hand in between your legs. Left hand in between your legs. Look to the ceiling. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now put your right hand on your right knee. Press and stand out. Ooh! It's good, right? Okay, the last one. The last one. All right. Keep your feet apart, shoulder width apart. That's what we're used to. And what I want you to do is keep your head from side to side. Let's get a good blood circulation. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now tip your head to your right and look out of the left corner of your eye. Look up to the ceiling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Reverse it. Look up to the ceiling out of the right corner of your eyes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And come on out of it. Okay? All right, now, take your time and have a seat. Sit back. That feels good, right? All right. Ready?
Thank you so much.
See, that exercise did not take much time. We can continue. Okay? He will have 15 minutes magic of movements after Dr. Okay? We will have all simple things you can do by simple. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. How will you define diabetes? Diabetes is a disease in which either you don't have enough insulin or you have enough insulin but it is not matching your needs. So this is in simple words. and insulin comes from gland called pancreas. What happens when you take any carbohydrate? When you eat any carbohydrate, it becomes glucose into your blood. Now, glucose is needed by your body and 75% need is by your muscles. But glucose cannot enter into these tissues, including muscles, without help of insulin. So, this is the role of insulin. So, insulin is like a key. In that diagram, you can see that there is a key. Glucose cannot enter into tissues without that key, and insulin is the key. Insulin opens the door for glucose to enter into these tissues. And these are the pancreas gland make this insulin, and insulin opens the door, then glucose enter into these tissues, and glucose is used for energy. Another thing is that liver has ability to make glucose. The brain needs glucose all the time, so you cannot depend on what food you are eating, because you may not get any food for 24 hours, 48 hours. So but brain needs glucose every minute. So that is why God has made this mechanism that liver can generate glucose. So liver is also making glucose, and for that glucose also you need insulin to take care of it, because if there is not enough insulin, liver will keep on making glucose and your blood sugar will be high. And that is the one reason when diabetic patient, they come and ask that how come at night time their blood sugar was 100, when they woke up in the morning it was 150, they did not eat anything. So then I tell them this is diabetes, because you don't have enough insulin to keep liver in check. So insulin keep liver in check. So in diabetes you don't have that enough insulin. So that is why liver keeps on making glucose. So this you should keep in mind, that glucose also comes from liver. So very common question every patient asks whether I have type 1 or type 2. So type 1 is there is absolute deficiency of insulin. Pancreas quit working. We don't know exactly how it happens. There are different ideas. Some say that it is maybe autoimmune disease, some viral disease, but still we don't know exactly how does it happen. But in type 1, patients lose ability to make insulin. These patients, they need insulin. Insulin is life for them. If they don't take insulin, they will end up in hospital and they may lose their life if they are not on insulin. Type 2 patient is which starts with insulin resistance. So these patients, they are still producing some insulin, but the problem is that they are resistant to insulin. As I mentioned that insulin opens door for glucose. So insulin resistance means that their doors are not being opened. So that is why glucose starts accumulating in blood. And then gestational diabetes is which we see in pregnancy, because in pregnancy placenta secretes some hormones which cause insulin resistance and causing high blood sugars. Now normal level, this is also very important, so that you should know where do you fall. Normal blood sugar before breakfast when you wake up in the morning is less than 100. Up to 99 is normal. So 100 and above is abnormal. And 2 hours after any meal, normal blood sugar is less than 140. So these are the levels which you should keep in mind, whether you have pre-diabetes or diabetes, that this is your goal, that these are the normal blood sugars. So what is pre-diabetes? Pre-diabetes is when fasting blood sugar is from 100 to 125, or 2 hours after meal is 140 to 200. So these are the levels borderline in between normal and diabetes, and that is the stage where it can be prevented. Then diabetes is if fasting blood sugar is 126 or above, or 2 hours after meal is more than 200, then it is a diabetes. So these are the levels you should keep in mind, so that you should know whether your blood sugars are normal or you are in pre-diabetes state. As I said, insulin resistance leads to pre-diabetes and diabetes. I will quickly go through a few slides and then we will come to lifestyle changes, which is most important for today's discussion. As I said that in these patients, insulin resistance does not let glucose enter into these tissues. So how do you develop insulin resistance? There are two main reasons. One is genetic predisposition. Some ethnic groups, they are genetically predisposed to insulin resistance, and those groups are African American, Asian American, Hispanics, American Indians. So they have genetic high insulin resistance. We don't know exactly why they have that, but in Asian American, Southeast Asia, they say that those individuals, they belong to those areas where there used to be food shortage. So their genes were made to survive in lesser food. So that is why when the food was short, they were doing fine, they could survive in shortage of food. Now there is abundance of food, and that is why their genes were not made for that. So, but this is one reason, genetic. More than genetic is weight gain. If someone gains weight, irrespective of their ethnic groups, they can develop diabetes. So these are the two main factors, genetic and weight gain, out of which I would say weight gain is more important because you can develop diabetes irrespective of that genetic insulin resistance. So due to this insulin resistance, glucose, instead of entering into these tissues, starts accumulating in blood. And initially pancreas respond by making too much insulin, but then it burns out, and then it cannot make enough insulin, and you start seeing blood sugar in range of pre-diabetes. And if nothing is done to change lifestyle, then blood sugar come into range of diabetes. Symptoms of diabetes, there may be no symptoms, or it can be tiredness, blurred vision, excessive thirst, excessive hunger, itching of skin, weight loss, and frequent urination, tingling sensation. These are the symptoms which may or may not be there. So that is why I called it silent killer. And the main reason why we need to treat diabetes is not just to make patient prevent those symptoms, because patient may not have any symptoms. To prevent complication is our main goal, to treat this disease, and it can cause stroke, blindness, heart disease, kidney disease, nerve damage, amputation. And as I said, the good news is that proper management of diabetes can prevent long-term complication of diabetes. And now we come to there are some signs which you can notice, which will tell us that if patient has a tendency of increased insulin resistance. Like one is acanthosis nigricans. There are black thick lines on the back of neck. Those individuals who have insulin resistance because they are producing too much insulin, those individuals have more skin tags, and those individuals sometimes when they are in stage of making too much insulin, they may have passing out spells due to low blood sugars. So you may have diabetics, sometimes they will give history that 10 years ago, usually girls, women, that they used to faint in school or college, and when they will eat something they will feel better. So that means at that time they were producing too much insulin, which was causing low blood sugar or hypoglycemia. Now coming to what we can do for lifestyle, because we cannot change our genes. So I tell my patient that so there are two things, genes and lifestyle. We cannot change our genes, but we can change our lifestyle. And changing lifestyle is not easy for everyone. That is the reason we see that 50% of patients, they have uncontrolled diabetes, because not everyone is doing what they are supposed to do. Now, in lifestyle, there are two things come, diet and physical activity. In diet, there are some misconceptions which I want to make sure that you should not have those misconceptions. Now, there is one big misconception in most of us. We think that if we want to eat something, our body needs it. So that is very wrong. Most of us, we think that since we want to eat this cake, that means our body needs it. So that is very true. Almost all of us, we think that our body needs it. Our body, so let's eat it because I want to eat it. That means it will be okay. My body will take care of it because it is asking me to eat that. So that is wrong. Like I tell them that there is no food which you can eat in unlimited amount, even water. You cannot drink an unlimited amount of water, because we see some patients who are psychiatric patients who drink too much water. You can get water toxicity, and that can cause a change in level of sodium, and then you can go to coma and you can die even with drinking too much water. So that is the first thing you should keep in mind, that doesn't mean that if you want to eat something, your body needs it, because diabetes doesn't work like this. Your blood sugar may be 500, a diabetic patient, and they still want to eat cake. So just keep in mind that just craving for some food does not mean that your body needs it. Now, another misconception is, which I want to make sure you understand, you keep in mind, many patients, they said that we eat natural. So just natural is not something that if you say natural, it will be fine. Again, it comes to what you are eating and how much you are eating. And I give example to such patient that snake venom is also natural. So that you will not try that, right? So that is also key. Please don't think that it is natural. It is what you are eating and how much you are eating. Another misconception is people think that only those foods which taste sweet, only they will raise blood sugar or they are harmful. That is not true. Sugar is sweet, but there are a lot of foods which may not taste sweet. Starches, they are all sugar. Potatoes, bread, rice, they are starch, and starch is sugar. So as soon as you eat, it becomes glucose in your body. Then another misconception, a partial misconception I would say, that fruits are good for health. Okay, that is good, that they are good for health, but again, limit the amount of fruits, because fruits also have sugar. So all fruits have sugar, so they will affect your blood sugar. If you don't have weight problem, diabetes problem, you may be able to handle fruits as much as you are eating for time being. But if you have weight problem, diabetes problem, that fruit is also you should consider as sugar. Another misconception is that fruit juices are healthy. So that is also our culture is that we take fruit juice almost every day, every morning. Fruit juices have tons of sugar. So concentrated sugar, 1 glass of fruit juice will have about 4 or 5 oranges squeezed into it. So that is also, again, if you have problem of diabetes, weight gain, then you should keep in mind that fruit juices, you are adding sugar into your body. Another thing, question asked, white and brown bread or white and brown rice. So in that, of course, brown will be better, brown rice will be better, brown bread will be better, but remember that both have starch, both are carbohydrate. So amount will matter, and bottom line is the amount of food. And when you talk to patient, you will be surprised to know there was one patient referred to me by primary care doctor for weight loss, and I sat him in and I asked him about his diet history, and he said, I don't eat anything and I'm gaining weight. Then I started naming different foods. You may be eating bread. No, I don't eat bread. I say rice, no potato, fruits. I was scratching my head. I said, what should I do? He is not claiming anything. So I said, what should I say to primary care doctor? How can he lose weight if he is not eating anything? Then all of a sudden to my mind come, I said, do you drink anything? He said, yes. I said, what do you drink? He said, I drink 1 gallon of milk every day. So 1 gallon of milk, 1 8 ounce of glass of milk has about 12 grams of carbohydrate. So you can imagine the whole gallon will have more than, I think, 300 grams of carbohydrate. So that these are a lot of misconception that we don't think what we are taking. We think we are eating everyone has their own concept of what is more and what is less. So that also you should go by standards. Now in carbohydrate, there are three main food items, diet, there are three main items: carbohydrate, fat, proteins. Carbohydrate should not be more than 50% of your diet. If you are overweight, diabetes, so try to keep it not more than 50%. Fats about 30%, protein 20%. So that should be the average percentage of these food items. And you can find out that if there are 200 calories from carbohydrate, how much carbohydrate it will have. 1 gram of carbohydrate is 4 calories, and 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So again, 1 gram of carb has 4 calories, 1 gram of protein has 4 calories, and 1 gram of fat has 9 calories. So in that way, if you someone say that 200 calories are coming from fat, you can divide by 9 and you will find out this many grams of carbohydrate they have. Now, not everyone can understand these complexities of calories and etc. So what I do is I tell my patient that you have to follow basic guidelines of diet, and then after that you should see that carbohydrate should not be more than this much amount. It a normal diet, if it is 2000 calories diet, and if we take 50% of carbohydrate, so it will be about 250 grams of carbohydrate. But this is someone who is not overweight, who doesn't have diabetes, who wants to keep either weight normal. So for them, someone who is overweight, diabetes problem, so I usually advise them their carbohydrate should be less than 150 grams in 24 hours. So you can look at carbohydrate less than 150 grams in 24 hours, and calories you can keep it below 1500, or if you are morbidly obese then below 1200. So the basic guidelines for diet is number one. I tell patient that I'm not depriving you of most of the foods. You will still be able to eat most of the foods provided you keep amount limited. But there are few things you need to completely stay away from. Number one is soda. I used to say regular soda, but with recent research I have started saying all kind of soda, because 1 can of soda has 12 teaspoons of sugar. So many people don't know that 1 can of soda has 12 teaspoons of sugar. If you already have sugar problem, then you are adding more problem to it. And with the diet soda, recently research is that it is also causing obesity and diabetes. So therefore, recently I have started advising my patients that they should completely stay away from soda. So that is for everyone who wants to prevent weight gain or prevent diabetes or treat the diabetes well. So you need to completely stay away from soda. Second thing is fruit juices. Fruit juice also you have to completely stay away, and it is for all fruit juices, whether it is natural or whether it is freshly squeezed or artificial concentrate, all kind. Because we give fruit juice to patients who have low blood sugar. Why we give them to fruit juice? Because it will quickly bring their blood sugar up. So these fruit juices will take your blood sugar high level quickly. So fruit juices should be complete. You should completely stay away from fruit juice. Then sweet tea. That is also, these three things, soda, juices and sweet tea, these are the most common things which in this country are causing weight gain. So these three things, if you already have this problem, weight gain or diabetes, you should completely stay away. So these are the three things which are rest of the food you can eat as long as you stay within the limit. As I said that let's say less than 150 grams of carbohydrate. Now coming to fruits, you can eat fruit again as long as you stay within a certain limit of total carbohydrate, but watch for glycemic index of fruit. Some fruits, they have high glycemic index. Try to avoid those. Avoid those mean don't make it a habit to eat it every day, once in a while, but not every day. So those high glycemic indexes, number one is banana. Banana is very high in sugar content. Then grapes. Grapes are like drinking fruit juice. I mean, these are good fruits. They have lot of benefits, lot of other things. But if you have problem of weight or blood sugar, please stay away. Then watermelon. Watermelon also, and I know all these three fruits, almost everyone loves those. And again, I am not depriving you of those. You can take those, but once in a while, not as a routine, because their glycemic index is high. Then pineapple. Pineapple glycemic index is very high. Mangoes, not many people eat here, but mangoes have high glycemic index. And then cherries. Cherries have, remember, berries are good, but cherries have high glycemic index. Dates have high glycemic index. So try to avoid those fruits. Now those which fruits have low glycemic index or relatively low glycemic indexes, strawberries are good, all berries are good, strawberries and peaches are good. Grapefruit is very good. Grapefruit in many research studies have shown help lose weight. Apples are okay, cantaloupe is okay, oranges are okay. So okay mean they are in the middle, they are not too high glycemic index, not too low glycemic index, but try to stay away from high glycemic index. And when I say that you can take these fruits, it does not mean, so again keep in mind that when I say that, let's say peaches are okay, that doesn't mean that peaches will not affect your diabetes. That is only that peaches are relatively better, because one patient came and he said his blood sugars were high, and I found out that he was, I think he was eating 5 pounds of peaches every day. I said, why? He said, oh, I thought peaches are good for diabetes. So this is also misconception. Then we say that relatively you can take that, they think this is good for, so it is not good. Fiber, take fiber at least 30 grams every day, because this is the biggest problem of lack of fiber in our diet, which is causing lot of problems. So since most of our food is not having fiber, you can take Metamucil is good source of fiber, and you can take 1 tablespoonful in 1 glass of water with every meal, or 2 tablespoonful once a day. Fiber has lot of benefits. It improves blood sugar, it improves cholesterol, prevents colon cancer, and prevents constipation. So fiber you take as much as you can. It comes from these fruits and non-starchy vegetables. But since our food does, if you are not eating those too many, so you must get fiber from those, and Metamucil is very good fiber. Then avoid snacks in between meals, because remember, when you eat, your blood sugar goes up. It goes up and then it comes down, right? So you should eat, if you eat 3 meals, by the time you will eat next meal, your blood sugar have come down, right? Now if you are eating snack, at the time when blood sugar is already going up. Now when you eat snack, then it will go further up, and by the time when you will eat next meal, it will be high. So if you will start with high blood sugar, then your blood sugar will further go up after your meal, because your blood sugar will depend on the amount of carbohydrate you are eating. More carbohydrate you will eat, more your blood sugars will be. So that is why if you don't eat snack, then you will start with good blood sugar before next meal. Eat early dinner, don't eat late dinner. There should be time interval between 2-3 hours in between dinner and sleeping. That is very important, because dinner is the time when most of us eat more and most of us are inactive after that. And as Dr. Gautam mentioned about obesity, and it is true that there was one study in which said that sedentary activity which causes most weight gain is watching TV, because during watching TV you are sitting for prolonged period of time. So therefore try to eat light dinner, try to eat early dinner, and the best is if you can do some walking between dinner and going to bed, or some kind of exercise after dinner. That is very good for many ways. For not only it improves your blood sugar next morning, it is also good for weight loss. And also when you eat heavy meal, after that there are more fat in your blood, glucose in the blood, and that level go down. So that will be very good habit to do some activity. Regarding fats, try to watch for saturated fat. Saturated fats are more harmful. So you should know that what foods have, as I said, that 30% of your total calories can be from fats. But in those calories, fat, saturated fat should not be more than 10% of total calories. Saturated fat they are in the whole milk or whole milk product, they have saturated fat. Then yolk of egg is saturated fat. Then red meat, beef, pork has saturated fat. So you need to limit the amount of saturated fat. The other kind of fat, which is better kind of fat, which has calories but which is not that harmful, they are monounsaturated fat. They will come from nuts. And also olive oil, canola oil. So for cooking, olive oil or canola oil will be best. And nuts are good source of monounsaturated fat. Nuts also have carbohydrate, but carbohydrate amount is small. So therefore for snack, I think if you want to take something, nuts will be best snack because the carbohydrate content is very small. In diet, there are different things which a patient asks that whether they affect blood sugar. One is cinnamon. Cinnamon has shown improvement in blood sugar. So if some patient asks me, I can ask them. Cinnamon is a type of spice which is used in Southeast Asia. And it is shown to reduce blood sugar. So you can take cinnamon. Cinnamon is available in powder form from Indian stores, Oriental stores, but I think in powder form it irritates your throat. You may not be able to take it. It is also available in capsule form. So if you want to take it, one capsule with every meal, you can do it. But remember, that is not substitute for medicine. The problem comes when you start taking cinnamon and stop your medicine. So these are not substitute for your medicine. These are just, I would say, help little bit, maybe 5%, 10%. They will improve your blood sugar, but they will not be enough that they will take place of medicine. Vinegar is a good improving blood sugar, so that should be fine. Chromium has shown to improve blood sugar, and most of the multivitamin, they have chromium. There is in Southeast Asia, there is a vegetable, it is called Karela in local language, and it is bitter gourd or bitter melon is called in different countries. So that has also shown improvement in blood sugar. But again, I would say that they will just have slight effect on improving high blood sugar, but they will not be substitute for medicine. So here I will just ask one question, reading label. Can anyone tell me what is difference between serving and portion?
Portion is like one control, one serving.
Okay.
Control portion.
Anyone else?
Portion is the amount you put on your plate. Servings is the number of times you can get that amount.
Number of serving.
Okay, good. So serving is what is suggested that you should take at one time, and portion is what you choose to eat. So that you should keep in mind, that you may be taking 5 serving, that is your portion size. So you have to multiply by 5 when you, so that is one mistake that they, at the label, whatever is one serving, they take 5 serving, they think that has same amount. And Dr. Gautam, you can stop me anytime now.
We have got 2 minutes, we will have another break.
Okay.
2 minutes, whatever you want. Then
And after that we will take.
long break, we have strawberries, we have and coffee. That's all we have. So remember, there is nothing else. Okay, so just a couple of minutes.
Just few interesting facts that they ask what is half cup, what is 1 cup. So 1 cup is half of an orange, half cup is half of a tennis ball, and 1/3 cup will be equal to a whole golf ball. Then let's see, this is, we said that keep carbohydrate below 150 grams. So this is a small apple and this is a large apple. So let's see the small apple. Anyone will guess how much carbohydrate, how many grams of carbohydrate small apple will have? How much? 8, okay. 12?
Yeah, 12.
Higher than that? 20, okay, just below 20. Okay, we'll take between 20 and 12. So this is 15 grams of carbohydrate, right? And the bigger one will have 30 grams of carbohydrate. So let's see potato. Who will guess the small one? This is very small. Who? How much? Anyone?
20 grams?
20, okay, let's see. It is 15 grams. 15 grams, okay, so that's not bad. But now let's come to this one. Who will guess this one, which most of us eat, right? 50, let's see. Okay, very good, very good. 50 grams of carbohydrate. Okay, this one. So this one is 1 serving, right? 1/3 cooked. And let's see. No, this is a portion. And how much carbohydrate? It is portion size is 90 grams of carbohydrate. Okay. This one, okay, this one will be protein. It is 21 grams of protein. And this one will have 84 grams of protein. 84 grams is almost total daily your allowance for protein. And that is, I told you, carbohydrate 1 gram 4 calorie, protein 4, fat 9, alcohol 7 calories. And this is all foods, they will affect your blood sugar, but fats and proteins will affect slightly, because some of the fat and protein is also converted into glucose, but main effect will be carbohydrate. So you have to pay attention what carbohydrate you are eating. When you think about change in your blood sugar, then you think about how much carbohydrate you are eating in one meal. And when you look at the label, I tell patients that they should go for total carbohydrate. That will be easy. When they are used to it, then they can also start looking that how much is sugar and how much is fiber. Of course, if total carbohydrate is same and one food has sugar is 25, other has 10, so which have 10 sugar will be better than other one. Total carbohydrate although is same, but effect on blood sugar will be different. So there are 3 main types of carbohydrate. One is simple sugar, which all fruits have simple sugar, then the starches, and then dietary fiber. And the starches are bread, rice, potatoes, beans, peas, corn, all of those are starches. So this is these are desserts. Let's say a piece of cake. It is 33 grams of carbohydrate and 14 grams of, let's say this one. It has 46 grams of carbohydrate. So can you imagine if you have eaten full meal and then you want to eat this dessert, not keeping in mind that you were supposed to eat almost this much carbohydrate in whole meal, and it has 46 grams of carbohydrate. I think I will stop here and then.
Okay, what we are going to do is that we will have a 7 minutes, not 5, 7 minutes break. We'll use the restrooms and all, and then we'll plenty of refreshment. Good.
Okay, I heard you talk about 3 meals a day, but everything seems to be going eating more meals and eating less each meal. So which which is the better?
Can you say it again?
Okay. We think of our normal diet as eating just 3 meals a day.
Right, right.
So what I have been reading lately and everything seems to be going to 5 smaller meals. How does that affect the diabetes?
Right, I understand your question. There is study that if you eat more frequent small meals, that is better in causing weight loss rather than taking less frequent large meals. In fact, individuals who eat only 2 meals or 1 meal, they tend to gain more weight. Usually they tend to eat large meals if they are eating less frequent meal. That is one reason, and also they said the metabolic rate slows down if you eat less frequent meal, and if you eat more frequent meals, then metabolic rate increases, which helps you to not to gain. The problem is, it comes back to amount of food. So these individuals, if we ask them to take more frequent food, more frequent one is that they will be eating amount of food will be, or total amount will be more than what they will eat. That is one problem. They may not be able to control the total amount. And also if they are taking their medicine, insulin or pills, they will work better if they are taking 3 regular meals. So that is someone, if someone does not have diabetes and their weight problem, then I would recommend it is okay. They can eat small frequent meals as long as the total amount of food is not too much, and they still stay total amount of carbohydrate is small. So for overweight person who doesn't have diabetes, that should be okay. But for diabetic patient, we have problem because they are on medicine, pills or insulin. For them, it is better not to eat in between meals because it causes fluctuation in their blood sugar. So that is what I will advise. Any other question? Yes.
You were speaking about the glycemic index. I get the question a lot about the bananas. Is it better to eat the banana at a certain time of the day let me rephrase. If I eat a banana first thing in the morning, is it going to raise the glycemic index for the entire day or my metabolism? Or should I place it mid-morning or at lunchtime?
Okay, the glycemic index is not it is a food. So food has glycemic index. So when you will eat bananas, it has simple sugar. So sugar quickly goes into your blood. Effect lasts for 2-3 hours. It doesn't last a long time. So it effect will be only after eating that 2-3-4 hours after that, not for the whole day. But the effect will be, its spike will be more. Now those foods that I would also like to mention, that why fried food are not good. When you eat carbohydrate with oil, then it has more sustained effect. Your blood sugar may stay high for prolonged period of time. That is why I tell patients that they should avoid, diabetic patients should avoid these pizza, Chinese food, Mexican food, sorry to say Indian food. Why? Because they have lot of oil. They have lot of oil, and when they eat at night time, till next morning it affect last, because fat causes sustained effect of high blood sugar. So therefore you should avoid too much oil, and that is also one reason in Southeast Asia high incidence of diabetes is that their food is 75% carbohydrate, and also they like to eat fried foods and oily food, and that is the factor which causes more damage to your body. So coming back to your banana is that its effect will be 3-4 hours. The fruit, it has short effect. Yes, please. You can okay. You can You can drink tea. Tea, coffee is good. Coffee, there's some research studies, coffee is good for diabetes. Tea has a lot of antioxidant, and tea is a diuretic. So I would say it also good for blood pressure. And then there are some crystallite type of thing. They have they have zero sugar. They have used sugar substitute. Once in a while you can drink that. They will be better than diet soda, because in diet soda there are two problems. One is the sugar substitute which they have used, and other is carbonated drinks. So that carbonated drinks also have lot of problem. So their problems may be related to carbonation of that drink also. So if you have non-carbonated drink with zero sugar, that also once in a while you can drink. That will be better than diet soda. That was about diet.
I want to ask a question on like sugars, when you take the raw sugar or the white sugar or honey. So do they all sugars have the same effect, or can you have a different sugars and one is better than the other? The agave also is being talked about lately. So what should we choose if we want to take a teaspoon of sugar a day?
Right. So all these white, brown, honey, as you mentioned, they will all raise your blood sugar. Honey has shown the effect will be slightly less than as compared to sugar. So in that way it will be better than sugar, but it will still raise blood. It is just like white and brown bread. Brown will be better because it has more fiber, but it still have starch. So amount of starch will still count. That I would say.
Can vitamin D be used to help or control diabetes?
Vitamin D. Vitamin D, I am not aware of relation of vitamin D to improve or control or prevent diabetes. So so far I'm not aware of anything vitamin D. It is a totally different thing from. Yes, you have a question?
When it comes to nuts, can you eat roasted nuts or raw nuts or any nuts?
Raw nuts will be better. Raw nuts, because if you have fried nuts, maybe those fried nuts are fried in an oil which is unhealthy oil, and then you are going to again unhealthy food. So raw nuts will be better. Right, there are some sugar substitute. Stevia is one of them. Then there are other. One is Trevia, other is Splenda, Equal. So FDA has said that you can still use that. So there are non-official studies on against all these sugar substitutes, but I think you can, in moderation, you can still use that.
Could you explain how exercise factors into helping to lower a person's, let's say, pre-diabetes?
Very good question. I'm sorry I missed that. I should have told that because we didn't come to exercise part. Now, exercise is just like medicine for diabetes. We know that exercise has a lot of other benefits, but I tell my patient that when you do exercise, you just consider that you are taking medicine. So how it works like medicine? As we discussed that in type 2 diabetes, there is insulin resistance, because insulin is there, glucose is there, but insulin cannot open the door. So there is some resistance at the door, and that is why glucose is not going into that. And if we have more insulin or medicine, they help to reduce that resistance. Exercise improves insulin resistance. So when you use a muscle, then it opens those doors, and glucose can enter into muscles. So that means that exercise is doing the same thing which medicine will do. Someone has done research that if you walk 2 miles a day, that is equal to taking 1000 milligram of metformin. Metformin is a drug, most of you are aware. It is given for diabetes, also given for pre-diabetes to prevent diabetes. It reduces insulin resistance. It also reduces production of glucose from liver. So when you do exercise, exercise is doing same thing. Exercise will opening doors, glucose is being utilized. So it is doing the same job as the metformin is doing. So this is the direct effect of exercise in diabetes. And then indirect effect will be if exercise you lose weight. As you lose weight, your insulin resistance decreases, because insulin resistance increases as you gain weight. So with weight loss, insulin resistance will decrease. Also exercise reduces your blood pressure, reduces your cholesterol level. So there are several benefits, but for diabetes, I would say it is just like medicine. So therefore, the best habit would be coming back to Dr. Gautam's after 30 minutes you should do some activity. I would say the best thing will be that if you can do some physical activity between or after each meal, something between breakfast and lunch, something lunch and supper, and then after supper. Because after you have eaten, as I said, remember that blood sugar is going up. So when it is going up, you will do physical activity, it will reduce your insulin resistance, and it will help to take your blood sugar down. That is why many patients who are on, diabetic patients who are on medicine, they will tell you that after doing exercise or during exercise, they drop their blood sugar, they get hypoglycemia, sometimes very severe, because exercise improves insulin sensitivity. So definitely it has definite effect on blood sugar. So that is why these patients, we advise them check blood sugar before doing exercise. Now remember, another interesting question is some patient will say that their blood sugar increases after exercise, right? So this will happen in that patient who does not have enough medicine in their system to control their insulin. Because remember that with exercise, exercise will have some effect, but when you do exercise, you also secrete certain hormones which increases your blood sugar, like stress hormone increases your blood sugar, but for a normal person, their insulin will take care of that. So therefore, their blood sugar will not go up because insulin is there. Now, in a patient who has uncontrolled diabetes, let's say they have blood sugar 200, they don't have enough medicine, enough insulin in their system. When they do exercise, their blood sugar may go up because the other hormones being secreted with exercise will raise their blood sugar, and they don't have enough insulin in their body to take care of that. So that can be the reason for those patients who will see that their blood sugar has gone up. Otherwise, most of the time blood sugar will go down in diabetic patients. So this was regarding those diabetic patients who are on some medicine. So if you don't need to get confused in that, just remember that exercise improves insulin sensitivity and decreases blood glucose in most of the cases.
Okay,
Any other?
one more question. Anybody has any one question? Before I ask Dr. Z, just only three things that he can really tell about. Basically, is about food, and the second activity.
Right.
Another one is inactivity or what, the weight or something.
Right. Basically, in diet part, bottom line is amount of carbohydrate. Other than those few things which we said, don't drink soda, juices, sweet tea. The bottom line is amount of food. You watch how much carbohydrate you are eating, and you keep the amount of carbohydrate low. And then you do regular physical activity if possible after each meal, so that you can earn. You should make a habit to earn your food. Whatever you eat food, you should think that you deserve it because you are also consuming it. So that will be the best way to eat and do physical activity. So here I will stop. Thank you so much, everyone.
Dr. Aziz, you have such a first important thing that he said, and maybe tell all your friends who have either type 1, I do not know much about that, but especially type 2. Please understand it. Start with that positive attitude that not only you can control it, but also it can be cured. Of course, nothing happens overnight except on instant TV, 30-second. So if you really want to see, that is it. And the second thing, probably which is I learned from him, and that is all difficult challenges of obesity as well as the diabetes, they can be controlled and they are all within our reach. Thank you, Dr. Aziz, for all your
Thank you
hard
so
work,
much.
small contribution.
Thank you so much. Thank
and
you.
this is something we believe, and that's going to be, okay? Yeah, and Dr. Aziz will be around here for a couple of more minutes, okay? Andre, we have only 10 minutes for you. Don't okay? In 10 minutes for you, appreciate that.
Okay, everyone, how are we doing today?
Good.
Had fun? All right, we're going to do a little bit more now. Just basically trying to get our heart rate up a little. Some of you don't run and we don't do enough actual physical work to get your heart rate up in a short period of time. But I'm going to demonstrate a simple exercise that would get it up, right? Now, first, don't get up, just stay where you're at. I'm going to raise my hand and take them in a circle. Just look at it first. All right? I'm going to do that 10 times and then change direction. Now, just imagine that I've done it 10 times, right? Now, then I change and go back the other way. All right, as I do that, I'm paying attention to how it feels in my shoulders, all right? In addition, I'm going to use a breathing pattern with it, all right? So see, every time I bring my arms up, I inhale. As I take them down, I exhale. Same. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. We got that? All right, stand up, please. All right. We're going to stagger this hip. Are you with me? All right, you're going to change your position again. Look this way. You're standing in front of the side by side. One of you stay back, the other person step forward. The reason you're doing that is so that as you take your arms in a circle, you don't hit each other. All right? So just stand and off a little bit. Good. Can everybody hear me? Yes. All right. Now, take your arms to the side and make certain that you won't hit the person next to you. All right. Let's do this 10 times. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're warming up those muscles in your shoulders. 8, 9, 10. Change direction in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, separate your feet. Shoulder width apart. Now, remember, you're going to move with your breath. See it? I inhale up, and I exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. All right, let's give it up. Give me 10. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Stay with it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change direction. Let's go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That's it. Now, sit back. Take your right hand and place your right hand over your chest. And we're going to do a simple meditation. You bring in your attention inward. I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes. You're going to inhale in a count of 5. Hold it for a count of 5. Exhale in a count of 5. When you hold your breath, pay attention. You should feel your heartbeat. Let's do it. Inhale. Hold that breath, and you should feel your heartbeat. Exhale. Now remove your hands from your chest. Keep your eyes closed. Let's do this again. Inhale at the count of 5. Now hold it and pay attention. You should be able to feel your heartbeat without putting your hands on your chest. Exhale slowly. Do it again. Inhale in the count of 5. Hold it. Exhale. Once more. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Now take a deep breath, and as you exhale, open your eyes. All right, let's get some feedback. Could you feel your heartbeat without putting your hands on your chest? Good. All right. Now, that exercise, the objective of that exercise is to have you recognize that if you slow down long enough and pay attention, you can bring your attention from outside to inside. All right? Now, we're talking about diabetes. We're talking about eating right. We're talking about doing all of these things to take care of your body. But the most important thing that we need to do is pay attention to what? Your body, right? Now, if you don't pay attention, it becomes hard to determine if you're overheating or if something that you had to eat is bothering you, or it's not, or your body you don't metabolize that food properly. Everybody understand that? So, somewhere along the line throughout your day, you should take time to listen to your body. Yes. Now, remember, most people only listen to their body when the body screams at them. When is that? When you are sick. All right? We all like to be heard. So does your heart. If you take the time and just settle down, you will notice that that heart would speak to you, and there's a whole lot of information that you're missing if you don't take the time and settle down. Finally, there's 2 parts to communication. One is the sender and the receiver. Of the 2, which is the most important? Receiving. Thank you. Because it doesn't matter, you can express to someone else whatever your idea is. But if you don't take the time to listen to what that other person is saying to you, guess what? You missed the boat. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? So you got to pay attention to what's going on inside. All right? That's it for today. Thank you for your time. Namaste.
Okay. Oh, man, you are seeing on your computer. Yeah, that's right, yeah. You have to start to get right into that. Okay, well, it's all right if it is not. I know that Rodney is not here. Rodney,
You have to press some button on the laptop so that it will.
it's not going through, okay? Well, let me just add, since the time is much more than money, everybody time people say time is money. I have often heard the most successful people, when you approach them, can I have a 5 minutes or something like that? They will say, how about take $5? I don't have 5 minutes. That's what that most of the busy people that they have. Because money is something that you can replace. But time is something is a non-renewable, non-replaceable. Today is April 6th. We started our program at 5 minutes after 9. That 5 minutes after 9 is never going to come back in our life. See, that is that most of the time when people, of course, some of you know I have a PhD in finance, when they come to about degree, especially about money and managing money, I said it is the most
Shane.
multi-millionaires and all those. See, America is the only land of opportunity in the world. You know, Forbes magazine publishes the 500 richest people. More than 90% of the people, they were all born like ordinary of us. More than. Then how they become billionaires and rest of us, we are always fighting power of poverty and this and that. Of course, again the question is, remember that attitude, I've been almost repeating it here. We always start thinking about poverty rather than not thinking about richness. So the most important, yes, it is here. Okay. It is here. Okay, now it is. Now my time is just thank you very much. That's it. Okay, that's it. Go ahead and next. Okay. So today is a question of, I was going to tell you about this guy. This is a man who really impressed me and changed my life. He came here to this town. I invited him. His name is Sir John Templeton. If anybody invests in the Templeton Mutual Fund, and he was here in this town for 3 days, and we did a program at Colosseum, and Colosseum was full. We had over 3,000 people came. Then people came to Charlotte. There was one of my students flew in all the way from Germany just to listen to him and all that. And when Sir John Templeton came, and the most long story is that about that. The guy his father was bankrupt in 1929 when he was 11 years old, 17-year-old. He went to Yale, and Yale he was always proper. Then he went to Rhodes University and all that. And one of the things most important, he just died year before last at the age of 96. And when he came here, he was 85. That time he was making 70 to 80 speeches all over the world. And look at the giving that power. I sent him the ticket. He gave me a ticket back. I put him in the hotel. He won't take mine. Last time when I was taking him to the airport, I said, Sir John, let me pay them. And he says, puts a hand on my shoulder. Don't you think I can't even feed you a little breakfast for all that you have done for me in 3 days? He is telling me. My keynote speaker is telling me, don't you think I cannot even feed you breakfast? That man was so successful, he sold his mutual fund called Templeton Fund Family in 1992 or something. Sold it for $700 and $800 million. Everybody he gave it to them. There were over 100,000 projects in the world here. And he was so modest. I think you heard him, you were there. So he was so modest, he touched you. And you know one thing important, that's why I quote his quote. There's all that. He said, I made many investors very rich. In that process, I also acquired enormous wealth. However, I did not realize the real value of wealth until I started giving money to various causes. I realized that the real joy of enjoying money is to give it away. My friends, of anything you love, give it away. If you love, you want to love somebody, give all the love. The more you can give it, the more will be left with you. This is what he taught me. Sometimes, just it changes your all. And since I'm a financial advisor, I manage money. The biggest thing was for me, dollar on glasses. I remember one of my clients told me a long time back, I have never forgotten. I said, I see in your glasses dollar signs. But everywhere I look for opportunities, how my clients can make money. It's just attitude, that's all. Whereas everybody saw, remember the difficulties, I saw solutions. And you find solution, you become billionaire. So that's the kind of, so this is the kind of the thing, since our time is running, please run next. Okay, the second thing that I learned from him and from many other people is the power of gratitude. I do not know, I have read so many, actually psychologists have really developed a new science of gratitude. And this has become just be seeing nice. Just saying thank you. Just saying, you see the Andre, I see, this is, I learned how to, he always says thank you to our people, even though you come and attend his program and all that. So that this is a very, I mean, these are, I hope by now you understand, we don't talk anything impossible. There is a no, we are talking scientific discovery or relativity or something. Simple thing, but these simple things are magic. Next. And this is something, this is the latest research I'm going to quote you, just linked to better health, sounder sleep, less anxiety and depression, higher long-term satisfaction in life, and kinder behavior towards others, including your partner. And that's why this study that did it. You know what's the next, please? And what he said, this is the doctor, this is research study. If you want to sleep more soundly, count blessings, not next. Okay, this is something that you all have heard. This is the guy I heard. I'm pretty sure you have read those books. 7 Habits of Successful People. Millions of books were sold. Millions of seminars. I heard him in about more than 15, 20 years back in San Diego. And he had talks, and you remember, so I wanted to invite him to Fayetteville. You know how much he was charging? $60,000 for one day. And he said, I don't have really time. If I can find, maybe next year I can come. And he ended this is a speech. Most of the time is a speech. What is this speech was that we are all spiritual beings having human experiences on earth. Now, what is a spiritual versus human beings? Simple in my language. Okay, next please. It is simply is true error is human. We all make mistakes. We are all imperfect. We all do that. Now how does it become spiritual? Just the simple to forgive is divine. People carry their mistake. I talk to a lot of people. You know, just like I always give example of a health club. I see people in the morning, they are guys say, good morning. What is it? I say, good morning, how are you? Morning. And I just be thankful. It doesn't take anything. No energy is wasted. You don't have to stop drinking your soda or whatever you want to do. But the important that is, next. This is a monk who came, you know, we talk about yoga, that's the reason I'm putting it. He came to America in 1893. He traveled all, this is the reason America really has a yoga thing. And all that kind of thing that is there. He really revolutionized, and he died at the age of 38 with a diabetes, uncontrolled diabetes. That's what happened here. So that's a kind of, but he's really almost touched. Harvard wanted to have him, Yale wanted all, and of course being a monk, he said, as a monk, I cannot really accept anybody. And all that monks are not. But he said something very interesting before that. It is not the receiver that is the blessed, but it is the giver. Be thankful that you are allowed to exercise your power of benevolence and mercy in the world and thus become pure and perfect. That's why the giving question. But the giving, the one that I like. Next please. Everybody knows this moment. I don't have time. I prepared a big lecture on Mother Teresa. You all know it. How this 16-year-old girl just doesn't know anything about Bengali or Hindi or just flies to unknown land, and that most of the funds, and this, she raised a lot of billions of dollars. And you know, when he died, India has the only national funeral. It was the same time that Mrs. died. Britain was having a funeral there, and there were more dignitaries came to attend Mother Teresa's funeral. And India, a Hindu country, and they had a funeral. And the only thing important, and that he always, and most of the time his job was to make money. And always she was asked, have you seen Jesus? He said, yeah. Have you seen Jesus? Yeah, I see every day. How do you see it? He said, when I see a crying child lying in the dinner, just in the gutter, just instant born, I pick up those children and I bring them. I see a sick person. Nobody is taking care. A family has abandoned because of that. I see when they're crying, there are tears. I see child, Jesus every day. And that's why the most famous saying that I like, I have no time to judge people. I have only time to love people. Friends, we don't have much time. I don't care whether you live 125. One of the biggest things that happens is, the moment we see person, we always say, we always try to start judging. Life is very short for judging people. Sometimes we judge, sometimes don't. So it is very, very important that if we really want to give, I think, in my opinion, the best giving is love, care, affection, whatever that you can. But if you can do that, then you are doing the best that you can. And that probably next one is, this is of course Buddha, we can't become, of course I will tell you sometime a story. His famous saying was probably the most, everybody knows, that's why largest number of people in the world that follow the religion, that is called Buddhism. Even China is classified, I don't know whether they are Buddhist, but he always says, own nothing but give everything away. Of course, if you are a human being, we cannot. But if you are a spiritual being, that's what you do. Own nothing but give everything. And that's the reason, I will tell you sometime a story about Buddha, but we don't have time. We have only 1 minute left. I have to tell you in 1 minute my 2 programs. Next 2 programs are, the May program is going to be, it is on May 4th. I did not put, I should have put that maybe. May 4th is on impact of anxiety on health and well-being. So you can write it down. But if you are on our mail list, we will make it sure we will bombard you. At least we will send you once a week. And if you have any questions, please send us the questions so we can talk to the speaker for the next program, Howard. And the next program, June is going to be the art and science of relaxation. And hopefully that time, I probably will ask Andre to really teach on June program. That is, I think, June 1st. If I remember, I confirm. June 1st is the that is. Is June 2nd? Okay, maybe June 1st, whatever, just try to do whatever the program that he will teach what is called pranayama. How to control your breath. Is it June 1st? Yes, Saturday is the June 1st. So please mark Saturday, June 1st. We are going to have that. Okay? And the last one I'm going to end with one of the attendees in this program send us a cartoon. And that cartoon, please next. Okay, the cartoon reads, if you cannot, you can come here. Is it just my imagination, or did American sidewalks used to look wild? Okay, thank you very much for coming.